Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, universe and world and planet Earth and Orange Bloods Nation? I'm Jeff Ketchum. That's Chad Hastings. This is House Divided on Orange Bloods Live, brought to you by the guys over at Texas Card House and Hijack Poker. If you need to go get your poker fix on, real cash games, real tournament games for money with real people inside the state of Texas, scan that QR code. Let them make magic occur for you, like we hope to do on this video. Like, subscribe, comment on the page. We do love all of those things. Jump into the specs chat, super chat us. In fact, today's a perfect day for super chats. Today, Chris Bennett and Mark Ruiz and Texas Sailor 76. Today's a perfect day. It's a Friday, and I'll be honest, it's not one of these days where there's a dominant topic. We're not faking it. We're not doing an Arch video today just because it's Arch.
Will Arch be good?
We considered it. We did, to be completely honest.
I suggested it. It just didn't happen.
Chad threw that out there, and I was like, no, there's like a bunch of little things. And I thought, you know what today needs to be? Today needs to be when Chad and I go back to our roots. We go back and be men of the people. We take on questions, all topics, anything you want. Hit us up with it. That's what today is. It is a full-on free-for-all Friday. And look, Chad, and I'll get us started.
Okay.
I'll just randomly start talking about some stuff that I have been thinking about earlier today.
I knew there was something. I knew there had to be something. There's no way you have nothing that you want to talk about.
I don't know that it's lead-worthy, but this is like an appetizer of sorts.
Okay.
I just think it's really interesting that Sarkisian is beyond optimistic, I think, about the talent and the group that he has at the linebacker position. And I think so much of that oftentimes centers around the discussion of Anthony Hill, that the totality of that position is pretty good. And as is the hit rate, as is experience, as in they even got a badass transfer that they brought in that I think has flown a little bit under the radar. They've got high-level prospects. Like, there's a lot going on in that room. And one of the quotes that he had from Destin earlier this week was to say, you know, it's a very versatile room. Obviously, it's highlighted. Anthony's a great player. Leonga had a fantastic spring. But now you add a Brad Spence. And I don't think Brad Spence gets enough conversation for how good he was at Arkansas a year ago and what he might bring to the table. You add Trey Moore, you add Ty Anthony Smith in year two, Elijah Barnes, Bo Barnes as a true freshman. There's a lot of versatility in that room. Man, that's just code for we got some badass talent in that group.
Yeah, and we talked plenty about Spence, I think, when it happened. And I know you've been one of the main voices, maybe the only voice I've heard really talking about what that could be. I think there's a little bit of like a Jalen Catalon fear built into that for some dumb reason. Like, it's a different player, but because he comes from Arkansas, there's this thought of like, well, we don't know what but Catalon had all the injury stuff. That was a different story. I'm with you, though. I think Spence could really be a shining star. And that's one of the things that stood out to me about the War Room, too. The confidence in the O-line we'd already talked about, but for him to go that far, he was asked a general question. And for him to land and kind of zone in on the linebackers there, it stuck out to me as well. By the way,
like, I don't know that I think he's truly a plus player yet.
Yeah, that's a huge key, man.
You know, and I thought he faded at the end of last year. Wasn't great against Ohio State. Wasn't great in the games against Georgia. I'm still waiting. Now, look, there have been guys that I've been like, hey, man, show me something. And then it ends up being, a Thorpe Award winner, right? This time last year, I was like, man, Johnny Barron, you can see the talent, but you don't always see the good games. I was like, where are the playmaking? Where's that? And then as a senior, you saw it, and you're like, okay, well, then everything that all of my concerns about Johnny Barron, well, I thought they were rooted in reality, he became that dude. So, like, I think LaFau is ahead of the curve in how much football he's played early in his career, but now going into year 3, like, this needs to be, who is he going to be? And I don't know. Like, I don't know that I look at the players they have and I think that he's the second best guy in that group. I wonder if Brad Spence has higher upside. He's a guy that can definitely get to the quarterback. I think there is a little, it's not Jalen Catalon, it's Trey Moore. And I think, you hear that Brad Spence is a guy that got to the quarterback while he was at Arkansas. He's got pass rush upside, SEC experience. And this is a guy that started 5 games for Arkansas a year ago, and he's been productive. Last year, 54 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss. Like, that is 6 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks. That's a lot of productivity. And, you're not asking that guy to come in and really carry a lot of responsibility. You're asking him to be an accent piece. That Ty Anthony Smith early on last year flashed the ability to really be a contributor in nickel and dime situations as a coverage guy. Like, he's an athletic guy. And then you throw in Trey Moore, which he and Brad Spence together kind of fill a lot of the same roles, but you could always have one of those guys on the field as a potential pass rush threat that you're moving in various places. And then Sarkisian mentioned it. You do have Bo Barnes as a true freshman. Can that guy get on the field? So I don't know that the numbers are huge at linebacker, but it feels like every single guy they have has a role, has upside, is somebody that they wouldn't want to lose. And, and the thing is, when you're short on numbers, Chad, because I think they have 8, it's not like there's a drought, but it's also not like some positions where there's a flood. They feel like they're hitting on all of their guys. And I think there's an underrated conversation to have about what Kwiatkowski does with those linebackers. And for them to have hit rates at that position, at the success rate that they've had, and not have many big busts, not have you're counting on somebody and that guy didn't come through so far. And we've even seen guys like David Benda, who you don't have massive expectations for, kind of develop over the course of their tenure under Kwiatkowski and turn into really good players. So, I don't know that we always talk about the right things when we have these Texas football conversations. We eventually get to everything. There's nothing that we don't talk about. But I wonder in a situation like this, I think they're real. Like, if we were to talk about who has the best linebacker groups in the SEC, where I kind of scoff at the notion that the Texas running back room or its offensive line or its receivers warrant being in that kind of conversation, I'm all right with that with the linebackers. I'm like, hey, man, bring on Georgia, bring on Alabama, bring on whoever you want to bring on. Texas is deep, they're young, they're talented, and they have that Anthony Hill guy that gets to serve as a checkmate moment in any conversation with any other school's group of linebackers. And I just don't know that, Chad, we've talked a whole lot about that group in those types of terms. But I think Steve Sarkisian wants to have that conversation.
No doubt. If you guys want to have any conversation you've been thinking of today, you can throw anything you like. Look at it this way. This is your chance to catch that question you've been thinking about for a long, long time, whatever it is. We got some questions already rolling in. We will get to those. We did get a super chat, but we'll set it up this way. Chris Bennett wants to know if I'm wearing maroon to support the Aggie baseball team. Oh, wait. How dare you, Chris Bennett? How dare you? Our first super chat looks like this. $4.99 super chat. Oscar, thank you so much for the super chat. Catch, if you'd like to read it, you can. I'm going to pass on reading that one. So go ahead and do that if you like. But thank you, Oscar, for the $4.99. We appreciate you. If y'all want to throw in a super chat, it will go right to the
Chad, am I delayed? Like, am I dragging?
Your audio's been fine. Your video has been dragging for me.
I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah. That has had a little bit of drag to it. While Catch is getting reset, let me remind all of you about the good folks at AV Consultations. Tom and Camilla and the gang, they can get you all set up. 255-8678. I'm talking to you 92 days away from Texas and Ohio State. So maybe that's the goal, to have the big badass screen by that point. Or maybe it's Thanksgiving. Maybe it's a Christmas present. Maybe you got a birthday or anniversary coming up. Maybe it's that movie room, you've always wanted. But they do a lot of other stuff too. Sound systems, making sure you have that Sonos audio equipment you might want. Maybe it's a lighting system, outdoor lighting stuff. They can do indoor and outdoor stuff. Call them up. Hit the website, start looking at those pictures of everything they can do. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. Do not get out TV screened by any member of your family or your friends. AV Consultations can make sure that will not happen. All right, Jeff Ketchum jumping back in, trying to make sure we're on time and videos and audios are lined up. Catch, talk to me a second. You good there?
Man,
Better?
I'm dragging, but it looks better than it did before, but I still think there are issues. Can you give me 30 more seconds? I'd rather get this right. I'm going to jump off onto a different server.
Okay. All right. You deal with that, and we will continue to line up those chats and super chats. We got somebody that wants to talk offensive line with Kyle Flood. Let's just throw this one in too. And there we go. Somebody just throwing in, let's go, boys. Happy Friday. Will Texas baseball run rule Houston Christian? Drew, I don't know about that. I hope they got the wall figured out in the outfield. There was some damage at the dish. Hopefully that's all set and ready to go. But Texas gets going at, 1 o'clock today, right? I think that's right. I was trying to keep it all straight with softball versus baseball. Softball wins, sets up the big matchup with OU tomorrow on a Saturday. I think that's at 2 o'clock. I think baseball's 1 o'clock today with Houston Christian. Used to be Houston Baptist. As Texas baseball, the overall number 2 seed, gets things started. And yes, Chris Bennett, my Aggie baseball team is not in it. So no, this is the Whataburger shirt. This is the maroon. It's kind of like the house divided if you think about it, because you got the orange and the maroon in the same shirt. Almost a Virginia Tech vibe, if you will. All right, let's see if this is working. Catch, you good?
I think this is much better.
Oh, much better. Words and sound matching up. My goodness. Catch, somebody threw in a question regarding Kyle Flood and offensive line. You ready? Michael says, Catch, can we have a Kyle Flood recruiting discussion? I know the 22 class was stellar, but it sure seems like after that, he recruited a bunch of projects. I trust Flood, but I have questions. All right. Uh-oh. Are we perpetually frozen now? Because it looked like he had that look on his face. I thought he was thinking it through. Didn't y'all think that for a second? First, he looked like that. Michael, I'll keep it. I will keep it. This is going to be a perfect for that. Perfect for that. Yeah. This type of show, where Catch is like, oh, I don't know what we would have talked about. We'll do a free for all. We'll let him ask questions, and then he may not be able to get the technical side of it figured out. We're going to cross fingers that he gets that figured out. While he's doing that, let me give Specs a little bit of love. And one more time, we're going to remind you about the tequila sale. It runs through the end of the month. So that's tomorrow. I'm talking to you on the 30th. It runs through the 31st. Go get you some tequila.
It's tequila time. Who's ready for a margarita? Shake things up all month long with discounts on Blancos, Reposados, and Añejo tequila during Specs Tequila Sale.
All right, so we're going to get you know what, Colby? Well done. Let's tie it back together. Catch needs to contact AV Consultations. Yes, make sure everything's hooked up. They can do that too. They can make sure all your computer systems and everything is hooked up right. That's where we need to start sending that stuff. Here's another O-line question. Vivek, I will grab that. Let's hope we get Catch back for that one. And I've got a couple of things, that I was going to throw out as well. Just as a random question. I saw that in Destin, CDC, and this was in the War Room. There's your QR code there. GetOrangeBloods.com. War Room was great as always last night. Anwar put in a note there. CDC was asked about the A&M and Oklahoma game. Did he expect those games to continue once the schedule resets next year? And he's thinking that is going to be a thing. I wonder about Arkansas. That wasn't asked about. You didn't answer it. I wonder if you're a Texas fan, do you care if you play Arkansas moving forward, or would you be good just taking that off the schedule? So we can hit anything and everything you want today. We're going to try it again. Catch, it looked like you were thinking hard about that Kyle Flood question, and then you just were frozen.
Recorded videos versus live is, I'm feeling a certain kind of way today. One versus the other after the troubleshooting issues that we've had. Can you even remind me of the Kyle Flood question?
I can absolutely remind you of it. Michael threw it in. Catch, can we have a Kyle Flood recruiting discussion? I know the 22 class was stellar, but it sure seems like after that, he recruited a bunch of projects. I trust in Flood, but I have questions. And just to kind of go along with it, Catch, and I'll put it back up, but Vivek just sent a how good are our current OL commits? So it's kind of, we'll put those two together, but there's Michael's question for O-line.
I don't know if I'm frozen or not, Chad.
I can hear you now. Yes.
Jesus Christ. I'm trying not to have a brain hemorrhage on the show. I think Kyle Flood's got to do a better job of recruiting. You look back at that 2022 class, and there really was nothing special about 2023 or 2024. You did add Brandon Baker, so that's fair. 2025, though, you didn't hit the big dogs. I mean, what Kyle Flood has really specialized in his career is taking elite prospects and then turning them into elite players, which is not an easy thing to do. It's much easier said than done. Oklahoma's got a great offensive line coach in Bill Bedenbaugh, and he's a guy that does the opposite. He takes under-the-radar guys and can turn them into elite players. And oftentimes when he has had elite prospects, they just haven't panned out at Oklahoma. It feels like Flood is putting himself into a position where he's going to have to do the thing that he historically hasn't done. When he was at Rutgers, when he was at Alabama, not been a guy that takes 2 or 3 or even 4-star talent and then turns that into NFL players. In fact, the first time he'd ever taken a non-super blue chip prospect, developed them, and then turned them into an NFL player was Cam Williams this past year. In his entire career. It's a crazy stat. So I totally understand your concerns, Michael. I think we all think Kyle Flood is an elite coach, but there's reasons to have concerns about this group. And the coaches seem very positive and optimistic about it. I think I understand why. But, yeah, I've got reservations. Look, the offensive line a year ago for some people is the thing, more so than Quinn Ewers. There are people that feel like the offensive line in the biggest games of last season was so not up to the challenge that they were the problem. And it's one of the reasons why it feels like every day this week, Chad and I have had a form of conversation where it's like, can you even have an offensive line in college football in 2025 that's good enough? Because I don't know who it is. I don't know who's blocking the Ohio State and Georgia defensive lines from a year ago. But you better have a bunch of NFL guys, and it's harder to accumulate those guys on the offensive side of the ball than it is the defensive side of the ball. But it is the task that's been given of Kyle Flood.
Michael, thank you for the chat. I ask everyone, just focus on Catch's voice. It's like
it's terrible, isn't it, Chad?
No, it's just pretend he's trying to talk you out of a tunnel. For those of you that sometimes do like housework, for some that do housework, exactly. For some that do housework, and you're just doing other things, keep doing what you're doing. Ride your bike, do your walk, whatever it is you do.
Pretend that I'm listening to my wife.
Exactly. Just listen to the sound of his voice.
I mean, I hear the noise, but Yeah.
Here's a buy or sell that Julio sent us, Catch. Buy or sell 7 draft picks on defense. I'm assuming he means from the 2025 season. 7 of them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on the starters, for sure.
2. Yeah. It's probably yeah. It has a chance to get to that spot.
And that doesn't include the backups, the young guys who we know will turn into future NFL guys, even if they're not in the 2026 or 2027 NFL draft, i.e. Justice Terry or Lance Jackson or Bo Barnes or Cade Phillips, right? There's a nucleus of young talent that will be the next wave of that. This is when
right.
we look
But
at
my interpretation is he's talking about the next draft, 7 on defense. That's how I interpreted that.
Oh, all right. Well, let me work my way through this. Hold on. That's a high number. Let me look at the scholarship board.
Right.
And
that's
work
what I
my
think.
Way through this.
That's what I think Julio is doing. My interpretation there was, because 7 across the group is one thing. I think
so. Here are your seniors, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll go into draft eligible juniors.
Okay.
Ethan Burke, yeah, I'm down with that. He'll get drafted.
Yep.
Cole Brevard or Travis Shaw. I'm going to say one of those two gets drafted.
Fair.
I think there's a sense that Brevard's going to be a guy that's an NFL player.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Moore, yes.
Yep.
Gilbo, yes.
Yeah.
Mookie Taff, yes. Okay, so now we're at 5.
Well, now you're there because
but you're out of those are all of the seniors on defense. So if we go to juniors now and we're sitting at 5.
And you haven't even said the 2 names I'm thinking of.
Anthony Hill. So there's your 6 now. So look, there are only like a half dozen. There's 7 guys that are juniors on defense. Okay.
Right. And Simmons still has one more after this year, correct?
Correct. Simmons isn't eligible.
Right.
So the other candidates would be Hero Canoe. I don't think so.
Okay.
Lavon Johnson. I don't think so. Leon Lafau. I don't think so. Again, it's a little early for me to be talking about the NFL with him. Brad Spence.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Somewhere, 7 rounds. I mean.
If he went pro, I think he would get drafted.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I could say that about Trey Moore too. And he came back. And so Jalen Gilbo as well. I think Gilbo gets easily drafted if he goes pro, but there was like never a consideration about that. Malik Muhammad. That's an interesting one. If he goes pro, he's going to get drafted.
Yeah.
I don't know how high up the pecking order he gets drafted. And then you've got Jelani McDonald, which is a maybe with him and Brad Spence. So I think there's 6 yeses. That doesn't include the other side of the Brevard Travis Shaw pairing being good enough to get drafted. And it's if McDonald or Muhammad or Spence were to come out, there's your 7. So yeah, I'll buy that.
I would too, Julio. And just to clarify, Julio did send us, yes, the next draft. Good. I'm glad I read that the way you meant it, Julio. And I figured that exercise would be good. I agree. I agree with Catch. I think it'll get there. All right. If you guys want to throw something in, feel free. Whether it's obviously if it's a super chat, it goes right to the top of the list. If you want to talk, anything, whatever you like, we will.
Hold on.
Discuss it. Yes.
I got to get to this. I mean, I put it up, Chad. I did. See, it just took 19 seconds. That's a sell. Garrett Gilbert was the most hype bust in UT history. My man, do you need me to say it out loud?
No. Come on. Don't please don't. please don't.
I mean, I would just say this. Garrett Gilbert wasn't the number 1 player in the country.
You know what they already think about you, Catch, when it comes to that guy. Like, do you really want to say it? I mean,
Quentin Ewers is a better college football player than Garrett Gilbert. That's not in question. But Garrett Gilbert historically isn't remembered nationally. Like, nobody's sitting around going, remember that Garrett Gilbert kid that came out in 2009? He's not thought of that way. He got drafted before Quinn Ewers did. Like, that happened. He went earlier in the NFL draft than Quinn Ewers did. And so I'm not saying, look, I understand the Garrett Gilbert case. And look, you're talking to Mr. Garrett Gilbert. He will be on my tombstone one day. But I'm just telling you, I think nationally, I think there's a different answer to that question.
All right. Fair enough. So Cash, it's a strange question to ask you live during the show, but I did have it noted down for you to talk about Rogue Shop. Is that a good idea with the delay thing, or does it actually enhance the Rogue Shop? Maybe spot.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Okay.
I wish I had every Rogue product known to man in my system right now. That's how it made me feel good. Anxiety, pain, sleeplessness, you name it. Get it while you can. Go to rogueshop.com, scan that QR code, use that promo code OrangeBloods for the discount. Find your jam. Find the thing that's going to make your life a little bit better. They will help you out. They'll fill out a quiz. It'll help point you in the right direction. But so many issues can just be improved with one little addition in your life. Let Rogue make that addition for you today.
We need to get some Rogue to Catch's connections. What we need to do, get Catch's connection to just Rogue shop it and chill out a little bit. Again, if you guys want to throw a super chat in, it is a free for all Friday. Anything?
Do you see this Quinn Ewers reaction? Like the people just can't. They can't have it. They can't have the convo. I don't feel like having it today.
No,
but
I know. That's why I said be careful. I mean, if you say the name, you know what happens. It is it's become like the Voldemort. Like it's a name you better not.
It really is. It's like, that dude went in the 7th round, and the NFL people told us they didn't think he was good. It's like, the slander.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Hey, Cat.
Guys, go back and watch the fucking Ohio State game.
Hey,
do that game.
Cat.
Tell me you put that guy quarterbacking against Ohio State in August.
Catch when I put out the post this week on Orange Blood.
The guy that everybody thinks today should have transferred somewhere else. That's literally what's happened.
Yep. I put the post on orangebloods.com, and there was a lot of folks that did not want to have the conversation. I was kind of excited with a lot of the reaction that I got to that post, Catch.
There's just denial, Chad. There's just denial. There's denial. And you know what part of it is? It's just hard for them to acknowledge, goddamn, Jeff was right all the time. For 6 years, Jeff was right. That's a hard thing. It's not hard for me to acknowledge that.
Right. Yeah.
Plus, I'm wrong so damn much that when I'm right about something, you're damn right. I'm gonna point it out. I think there's just a discussion that's been going on for years that people are like, damn, I told Catch for years he was on the wrong side of the debate. And it turns out he was right about Cade Klubnik. He was right about Quinn. He was right the whole time. He was the only one that was right. The only one. Not anybody else doing a single Texas video on any channel, on anywhere. Just me. Just me. There we go. I might be frozen, and I might look like a kung fu video from the 70s, but God damn it, some of those were right too.
No, it's good. It's good experience for me, Catch. I feel like I'm interviewing someone who's covering a war on CNN, where you get that delay. Like I'm just waiting.
Was that a Scud missile?
Yeah, like it was just. I feel like that's what we're waiting for. It's no problem. No problem.
I gotta be honest, it's what you get on a free for all Friday.
That's it. That's what you get. Free for all stuff. All kinds of topics out there. Catch, if Texas ends up. No matter how many conference games they're going to be moving forward, do you think the SEC is going to leave them with Oklahoma, A&M, and Arkansas as the opponents every year? Do you think Texas is going to get to keep those three? Because if I'm Texas, I want to keep those three. Bam.
Yeah, I think those are the three. And in reality, you're not wrong, Chad. The way the SEC is shaping up, it's about as kind of a threesome as you could have. Because they're all capable, but I don't know that I think any of those programs are going to nationally elite the rest of the day. As much respect, I think, as it has for Arkansas. And you and I talked about that game endlessly going into last year, that it'll be a fist fight. And it's a good thing that game's being played in the daytime and all of these things. I feel like we respect Arkansas. That's even coming from you, Oscar. I see your 999. We'll get there. I think at the end of the day, sorry, I lost my train of thought. It just happened. My brain's on fumes. Go to Oscar's Super Chat. That's the only thing that matters anyway. We're going to encourage the Super Chats.
Gummit, we were going to get into at least a little bit of scheduling and not talk about Quinn, and then Catch lost what he was, and now Oscar's going right back. $9.99.
I don't even know who Chad, who would be the next? Look, let's take Arkansas out.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we even putting in?
Right. I mean, it would be the question, but the beauty of Arkansas, it's kind of like what Bama got with Tennessee for those years, where the rivalry makes sense and it really benefits one team. Now, right now you could say Tennessee's gotten that thing turned a little bit, but man, just forget about
I think that benefits both teams. Arkansas gets the Texas thing. They need it. They do need Texas in the SEC, because Arkansas just kind of floats out there by itself. They need the Texas game. They really do.
Yeah.
But Texas does get a somewhat of an SEC patsy as an annual game. There's no getting around that. You'd rather play Arkansas than LSU every year, because if you play LSU 10 times, that feels like if you win 7, you should be really happy. Right. And that's a good record against Alabama. Would like to be 7-3 against LSU, right? Mm-hmm. Although I'd have to go back. LSU, I know, lost the majority of those games, but they have had some success. Arkansas feels like a rivalry that Texas should win 9 out of 10 games every decade, until Arkansas finds a way to prove that they can play against Texas, like really play. That feels like 8 at a minimum. If they're 7-3 in the next 10 years against Arkansas, we're going to look back at that game as, damn, that game's caused Texas some problems and caused seeding issues, made them miss the playoff once. They missed an SEC championship game. That's a game you can't lose. You have to win that game.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you can keep the rotation as it is right now, and you could have both games at home, Arkansas A&M, and obviously we know where Oklahoma's played, and you keep rotating it that way, I think that really helps Texas out too. Yeah, you got to go to Fayetteville and College Station in every other season, but just look at the history of Arkansas in the conference and A&M in the conference, and we'll see what happens with OU. We know how they started, but yeah, that's exactly what I would want if I'm Texas. All right, let's see. Here it is. Oscar wants to go back, $9.99. We all know who he is, went 5-7 with as many super blue chips. You thought he'd be better than Colt. He had a Hall of Fame coach and went 5-7. Was Quinn great? No, but at least he could win more than 5 games. Terrible take.
Well, Oscar, your take's stupid, because I literally said that Quinn was a much better college football player than Garrett Gilbert. Like, that came out of my mouth. And your inability to actually focus on the things that I said, as opposed to the things you think I implied, are just wildly disconnected. Quinn Ewers, much. That's 3 goddamn muches. 4 better than Quinn Ewers as a college quarterback. I mean, Garrett Gilbert, just as a college player, didn't come close to accomplishing the things that Quinn Ewers was supposed to, that Quinn Ewers accomplished. For 4 guys, we're talking Trevor Lawrence, Garrett. I'm forgetting. That's it. Like, The number of guys that were number one, not even Arch was that. 1.1 on everybody's board. Garrett Gilbert was for rivals like 15 or 20 prospect in the country. He was 5 stars, but he wasn't rival. So nationally, Garrett Gilbert's not remembered nationally. Quinn Ewers will be remembered forever. Forever. He's one of only a couple of quarterbacks in the history of the modern age of recruiting that were number 1 overall player in the country unanimously. And he's the only guy that wasn't drafted in the top 10 picks among the group that were in that category. Like context is everything. He's a much better player than Garrett Gilbert. Gilbert isn't even memorable for us, but nationally in 20 years from now, Quinn will still be the answer to a trivia question, and Garrett Gilbert will be a footnote of a guy that won a Super Bowl ring and earned his pension, but was never really a good college or NFL player.
Yeah, and Oscar, remember, the initial discussion started with the idea of it was a bust question. It was a buy or sell about bust. It wasn't about how they played at Texas or how they were as college players. Thank you for that super chat. We appreciate it.
It was a much, much, much better player. Like that's really not the conversation that we're having.
Catch in Oscar's defense, the words he's hearing and your face delivering it are a little off today. So that might be it. And that's not anybody's fault. That's the technology's fault. And as someone in the chat,
by the way,
I don't know. The chat got it right earlier. You need to call AV consultations and get Tom to take a look at it and figure out what's going on. That's what needs to happen.
I'm not saying a word.
Okay.
I don't know what's
about this.
Do we have any other super chats? Like I'm about to just be like, Chad, I can't see anybody. I don't hear you. I'm gonna log out and log back in, but if you don't see me again, close the show.
Fair enough. All right. He's about ready to give it one more chance. 199 super chat. Archer Gilbert, higher ranked out of high school. Yeah, no, didn't even have time for that. We'll see if he can get you that. All right, as we get ready to wrap up, let me give you a couple ideas of places you might go check out this weekend. One of them is the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. So good. They are open for business as I'm talking to you. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 7. Sunday, it's a 12 to 5 situation. Double check your weather as you head out to the beautiful hill country, but get out to Dripping Springs and check them out. The cocktails, the Crimson Creek Smokehouse barbecue to go along with it. And yes, pineapple. Deep Eddy pineapple is out there. It's the newest flavor. So you got 9 different flavors if you want to go do a tasting. And trust me, that tasting is awesome. Obviously, do it responsibly. Get your DD, get your ride share all set up, and have a great time out at the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. That's what they're all about. Having a good time, doing it safely, and introducing you to the best that Deep Eddy has. There's a lot of great stuff. Can't wait to get back out there at some point. All right, we will see if Ketch wants to try to jump back in, but he did put the qualification on it. He did put that qualification on it when he exited the building. Let me see if anybody's thrown a super chat at us as we were going. Oscar and then the folks still having a discussion over here about maybe a little Quinn Ewers that ever. Rex, worst house invited ever. Magic 8 Ball says no doubt. Yeah, maybe. This could affect the future of the show, right? This could do it. This really could do it. Let's see if there's anything else there. Yes, I don't know. I don't know if I want to get into Garrett Gilbert and Quinn Ewers necessarily. This is an interesting one. I like this one. James, strictly out of high school, Arch or Gilbert higher? I think it's Gilbert. If you're I think that's right. I mean, Arch was really ranked high coming out of high school. I think Gilbert's is higher though, because I do think Gilbert has that kind of grading where there aren't that many that were up there. Quinn, Vince are up there, but I think Garrett is Garrett was a little bit higher. Again, not the recruiting expert here. We know that, but I think that is true. All right, let me assume that Ketch may not be back. Let me throw a weird fact at you real quick, just something to keep in your head. Random thought on a Friday. I'm reading the stuff that's come out of Destin. The SEC has changed their fine for field storming. All right. It used to be $100,000 and then it escalates. Now, this probably doesn't apply necessarily to you Texas fans that watch the show, because I don't know that that's necessarily going to be the case, right? You're not going to have storming at DKR, but just something to keep in mind. They've now gone flat $500,000. It's $500,000 for the school that rushes the field. Couple things. One, if you don't know, that fine money goes to the other school. It goes to that visiting school. But here's the weird part. I've never heard this in a rule like this. They're saying that the conference can rescind the fine as long as that home crowd lets the visiting team and players, coaches and players, get off the field safely. Okay. Remember was it Alabama and Tennessee with the player like elbowing a student because they were trying to get off the field and stuff like that? Just something to keep in mind. Kind of like that. Kind of a weird little idea, but that apparently is out there. All right, so let's wrap up here. I think Ketch's stuff is just not going to cooperate. We are sorry for that. Maybe Ketch just needs to have enchiladas. Here's the picture that started it all from out at Hays City Store. They're incredible enchiladas. If Ketch lived closer to Hays City Store, that would have been my idea for him easily. It would have been a simple idea to send him out there for those enchiladas on the left. If you like really good beef enchiladas, they are some excellent. Now, look, I'm not an enchilada expert. They are some of the best I've had, though. I was a fan of the Dart Bowl, the famous Dart Bowl enchiladas. These are great. My kid likes the ones at Casa Garcia's, which has a location in Manor and some other places. But these are really good. They call them the truck stop enchiladas. Try them. Maybe try them with the fried egg. That's a whole nother way to do it. If not, go to the right side. Go to that chicken fried steak or chicken fried pork chop or the blackened pork chop or the grilled pork chop or the incredible pizzas they have. How about a burger? Their bacon jam burger. Anything they do with bacon jam is awesome. The bacon jam burger is out of this world. Get on out there. Tell them we sent you here at Orange Bloods Live. Travis and Tamara, they love themselves some Longhorns. They're ready for the season to start, but they're always ready to serve you the best in food and an atmosphere. Don't be in a hurry. Like I always say, when you're heading out to Driftwood, FM 150, but get on out there, check it out, get your reservation ahead of time. That will definitely help you at Hays City Store. Now I have made myself both hungry and thirsty. So some good ideas. And thanks to all of our great partners here at Orange Bloods Live. Obviously, shout out to Specs. Thank you guys for jumping in the Specs chat. And we are sorry that today just ended up like this. Ketch at one point was ready to jettison on the show anyway. And now there it is. He was thinking, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't know. He's had a lot going on today. And now the Wi-Fi messes with him. So maybe we will get him in touch with AV Consultations. All right. Y'all have a great weekend. We are minutes away from Texas and Houston Christian in baseball. If y'all are headed out to the Dish, be careful out there. Enjoy the weekend. Best of luck to Texas getting through the regional this week. We'll see if they can get towards the super regional. And as long as we're throwing luck out, I don't know what we all need to do for the Texas softball team. There's prayers and horns and, anti-OU. I don't know what you do, but the OU softball team is 4 years running the champs. They're right there in Oklahoma City. Let's see if Texas can, figure out how to at least put a little dent maybe in that armor with an early loss. That's just tomorrow, I think at 2:00. And it's an ESPN Plus, or it may be big ESPN, actually, as I think about it. But best of luck to the softball and baseball teams as they continue to roll through. And y'all have a great weekend. Next week, just come on back for some Orange Bloods Live. Thank you for checking out all the content. Back next week. I'll actually be out next week, but the fellas will be back next week. We'll definitely have something for you live at noon. Come on, check it out. Orange. After today, I don't know if it's going to be even called House Divided, because this may be the the crashing, catastrophic end to House Divided the way it rolled out today. But we do appreciate you. Thank you for your support. Y'all have a great weekend and enjoy the start of June. Where did May go? Y'all be careful. Hope everybody's safe and sound and these storms haven't hit you too hard. And we will talk to you on Monday. Also realize that QR code, get to orangebloods.com. Great content. War Room was there last night. And every little thing that's going on in recruiting, the very latest is coming starting next weekend. You got those 3 big weekends in a row. Texas recruiting stuff on the 6th, the 13th, and the 20th. So get ready for all of it by signing up with Orange Bloods with that QR code down there. It is the easiest way to get signed up. Thank you guys for jumping in. We appreciate you. This is Orange Bloods Live, and we hope your connection is